Hello, everyone. Coming up here on the AEW Ring Report. We saw last week that Darby Allin became the new AEW champion. Darby Allin is going to continue that celebration going. Darby has his championship celebration. We're here for the new world champ, Darby Allin, here tonight. Speaking of Darby, Darby will be having his first championship defense. He goes one-on-one against Tommaso Ciampa. Darby will go against Ciampa one-on-one. We'll see that match coming up a little bit later on in the show. Darby Allin takes on Tommaso Ciampa one-on-one. Oh, yeah. There we go. Darby Allin takes on Tommaso Ciampa coming up. The AEW World title. Speaking of that, Ospreay will go against his former United Kingdom teammate, Mark Davis, one-on-one. We'll see that. Plus, Mika will be in action as well. Mika will be in action coming up. She'll go against former women's champion Hiroshima as well. We get the pro wrestling show started right here, right now, the AEW Ring. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. Presents the AEW Ring Report. I'm your host, as always, Kendra Dix here. Glad you're enjoying us on the Pro Wrestling Show. Join in the conversation using the hashtag Pro Wrestling for the AEW Ring Report. All right. Let's not waste no time whatsoever. Let's get things started right here, right now. The AEW Ring Report with a former World's Heavyweight Champion, MJF, feeling a little salty that he lost the AEW Championship to Darby Allin. MJF probably looking like, my moment, my time. What happened? Well, MJF got caught up like in the rapture, thinking that he was better than everybody. MJF paid the price last week when he lost the World Championship to Darby Allin. And Darby on a roll now, winning the AEW Championship last week from MJF. You didn't expect that, but MJF lost the AEW Championship to Darby. And now Darby now on top of the world as the new AEW World's Champ. Well, MJF feeling a little bitter. The former bitter champion felt some type of way. Hold on, folks. We want to have technical difficulties. Hold on. Bear with us. All right, we're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties. But MJF had a bad week. MJF continued. MJF called out Darby Allin and wanted a rematch for the championship, but he got called out by Kevin Knight. Kevin Knight, the new TNT champion, Kevin Knight saying that he wants to defend his title against MJF. MJF recalled that he did beat him for the AEW when he was AEW champion in his title defense. I'm saying that Kevin Knight doesn't deserve a shot at the at this championship, but he can easily take his championship. So that's what's going to happen next week. Kevin Knight will defend his TNT title again more than he can chew. Hopefully, Kevin Knight knows that MJF is no playing. MJF is a little bit bitter, mad, angry, frustrated, all rolled into one. MJF will get the shot next week against Kevin Knight in his championship defense. MJF still wasn't done yet. MJF still felt like Darby still stole his belt. MJF wanted it back one way or another. So we'll see how he's going to go down as well. Well, speaking of that, Will Ospreay, the former international champion, went against his former United Kingdom teammate, Mark Davis, after what Mark Davis did a couple of weeks ago, attack Will Ospreay, left Will Ospreay land and did what he did. Well, you can see it right here. We're going to show you that when he attacked him, left what he did. Stuff we saw how that went down. But Mark Davis sent a message as well to Will Ospreay from last week. What Mark Davis did. Well, Mark Davis didn't really did all he could, but it just wasn't enough to do. You saw right there, Mark Davis laid out Will Ospreay. But tonight, we see Mark Davis going to lay out Will Ospreay again until Moxley came out there. Moxley having a change of heart. What's going on with Moxley? Is Moxley changing in front of our very own eyes? That's the question that everybody wants to know. But Moxley doing to what he did to Ospreay, and we got Mark Davis out there, Don Callis out there in the ring. So there's a lot of moving parts moving forward with that. We're still trying to figure out what's going on with that. Also, too, Chris Jericho still having his issues with the demand. When the demand trying to see if Chris Jericho can find a partner. After what the demand did last week, the demand left Chris Jericho laying in his middle ring. Man of Kong, Ty Lonely, and Ricochet. Ricochet trying to be the mouthpiece after what Ricochet did as well. You see we see the demand what's going down, but it looks like Jericho may have found some help, and Jericho may have found that. So Jericho may have help with MJF. We know Jericho and MVP didn't like each other one bit. Jericho may have got some reinforcement with the Hurt Business. We'll see coming up Saturday what's going to go down with Jericho and MVP. But it looks like the demand likes fighting the Hurt Business. The same people. It looks like AEW really ain't got nothing for these folks to do. It's like the same like musical chairs. They got to switch it up a little bit. You would have thought Jericho would have brought a Big Bill or Brian Keith or something. It's crazy, but we'll see coming up this Saturday. So we'll see if that'll be the case. Speaking of that, Edge had revealed that if he and Christian don't win the tag team championships, they're going to retire. Well, Edge and Christian, one of the greatest tag teams in the Attitude Era, along with the Dudley Boys and the Hardy Boys, synonymous. Edge and Christian could be coming to a close. They're in as tag team champions, and Edge will vow to do what he needs to do to become tag team champions after what had happened when FTR started mocking Edge and Christian doing the 5-second pose. Edge and Christian probably wasn't too keen on that, and we see like what FTR and Stokey was doing. So we'll see that coming up. Edge making that promise. If they don't win the tag team championships, they will disband and break up as a tag team, a legendary tag team. Speaking of that, Samoa Joe returns, the former AEW champion, returns to the ring after almost 6-month absence. Joe returning. Joe did some quick work as well. As you see right here, Joe being embraced by Hook. So Joe and Hook back together once again. Well, it looks like Hiroshita was in action as well. She went against Mika. Hiroshita returning back to action. Hiroshita, former women's champion, went against Mika and won her match over Mika. Hiroshita looks like she wants to come back and become a champion again. We don't know if she's going to go for the TBS championship or what. But Hiroshita being endorsed by Chris Stanley, another former champion. And we see Hiroshita coming back better than ever before. Hiroshita's back to the driver's seat. Well, also too, we told you this. Tommaso Ciampa sending a message to Darby Allin that he wants a new Golden. And he wants to take Darby gold before he even got started. Well, speaking of that, Darby Allin coming out for his championship celebration. Well, championship celebration. It was Darby thanked the fans and thanked himself that he believed in himself and that he can do it and become world champion. Darby Allin leading an example that, you know, you can dream big and do big, but Darby had that aspiration. Even to the point that MJF, we told you, came out there to talk to Darby Allin and want his belt back. But there will be a rematch sooner rather than later. We don't know if it'll be double or nothing or what. So we'll have to keep locking in here on the Pro Wrestling Show on that. Speaking of that, Darby did defend the championship. Darby had Tommaso Ciampa in a sharpshooter and did the sharpshooter and won his match by defending Tommaso Ciampa in the sharpshooter and did so. Tommaso Ciampa tapped out from the sharpshooter. So we see how that went down. So Tommaso Ciampa had his shot, just wasn't big enough tonight. Well, it looks like the next challengers might be coming alive and well, and looks like it could be this man right here, Brodie King. Brodie King looks like he wants to be next in line for a shot at the World Championship. It looks like Brodie King's gonna get a shot next week. So Darby Allin will defend the AEW Championship against Brodie King. We'll see that match next week. So looking forward to seeing that as well between Darby and Brodie King. All right. That does it for the AEW Ring Report. Let's move over to Wrestling Hot Topics. So Wrestling Hot Topics, we'll talk about this right here. We told you JellyRoll made an appearance. It's going to be like a Tennessee News Wrestling Report, Pro Wrestling Show for Hot Topics. Well, JellyRoll, no stranger to the home state of Tennessee. JellyRoll sent this text out that said that he and Pat McAfee had no business being WrestleMania 42. And JellyRoll said on his YouTube, he said he had one goal. And then I kind of see, Pat, I love you, man. Neither one of us had no business being here. I say we got to get back to what we good at. Right. Well, JellyRoll did their elbow drop to Pat McAfee, sending him out. But the outcome of the match, Pat McAfee still came out there. And Pat McAfee might have said that he's done with pro wrestling. And so I guess it was his swan song, both him and JellyRoll, the swan song to be done. Well, we're hearing reports right here that WrestleMania was supposed to come to Nashville. That was the report from a local news affiliate in Tennessee. We'll have that report. Hopefully, we'll get it to you tomorrow. But WrestleMania was supposed to come to Nashville to WrestleMania 43. But since there are some instability going on in the Middle East, who knows, will WrestleMania come to New Orleans or perhaps Nashville? That's probably the case. But Nashville is supposed to be building that new stadium for the football team, for the Titans. And we know it could be a future WrestleMania in store for Nashville coming up. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. I think Nashville did host SummerSlam a couple of years ago. And now Nashville could host a WrestleMania in their future. All right. We're going to leave you here on the Pro Wrestling Show with AEW champion Darby Allin making it alive again. Darby's been a fighting champion, and Darby continued his fighting streak. I've been your host, Kendra Dix, saying so long. Thanks for watching this edition of the Pro Wrestling Show. We'll see you tomorrow for the TNA Ring Report here on the Pro Wrestling Show.